Hey, I've decided to go documentary style with this one. So as some of you guys already know, or maybe you're finding out for the first time, I am going for something stupid, crazy, huge goal of mine. I've always kind of dreamed of it. It's always been something I've wanted to go after, but it's something I have always talked myself out of. And it is everything happens on the timeline that it's supposed to. Everything is aligned exactly the way that it needs to be. And here's the thing, guys. So I listened to this podcast and I will link it in this YouTube video. So don't worry. I need you to listen to this. I don't care where you are in your life. I don't care where you are in your Scentsy journey. I don't care what your goals or ambitions are. I need you. Need, N-E-E-D, need you to listen to this podcast. I don't care if you like the people that are on there or not. I don't care if you like podcasts or not. I don't care where, like, if you don't have the time, make the time, listen to this podcast. I listened to this podcast probably a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is something special. This is just something crazy. And I want to tell everyone about it. So I listened to this podcast. And in the podcast, Colin O'Brady says, what's your Everest? Meaning, what is that next thing that you're looking to conquer? That next hard thing that you're working towards, whatever that is, whether it's related to Scentsy, related to not Scentsy at all. What is your Everest? And I thought to myself, I don't know. I don't really have one right now. I don't really have anything that I'm like crazy shooting for. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm always pushing myself. I'm always trying to grow, but it's never anything like, this is my end goal. Like, this is huge and this is big and this is what I'm going for. And it's really scary and blah, blah, blah. I didn't have that. And I haven't had that for quite a while. So I'm like, I don't really know what my Everest is, right? So I earned in level 2 of our current incentive. And I was super excited about it. And I was like, yes, okay, cool. I'm really proud of myself. 2019, I wasn't anywhere near even earning level 1 of an incentive. Or I earned level 1 of an incentive, but I was nowhere near level 2. Definitely wasn't going to have the sponsoring points needed. Definitely wasn't selling enough. Dropped down to SSC. You name it, I was going through it. I was barely selling 500 to 1,000 a month, right? Our team was nowhere near director numbers, barely hitting superstar consultant numbers most months, if we hit them at all, and just all sorts of problems. So that's where I was at in 2019. 2020, I revamped, built my business, earned the level 2 of our incentive so that it paid for my trip to Disney. But I barely got it. It was like at the very end of the very last month that I got it because I was waiting for these recruits that I had recruited to hit certified. And I was truly putting the weight on them when really I should have been focusing on myself. But I earned the trip, right? So 2021 rolls around and I was like, never again are sponsoring points going to be the thing that stops me from earning a trip, nor are they going to be something that I stress about. So 2021, earned that trip level 2, had double the sponsoring points needed, and earned it almost 2 months before I needed to. Okay. This year, here I am, way more than double the sponsoring points needed, earned level 2 at the beginning of December. We have all the way through the end of January. So again, almost 2 full months to go. And I was perfectly content. I was like, there's no way I could earn level 3. There's just no way possible that I could earn level 3 of a trip without promotion points. And I'm a director. So like I could still promote to star director, whatever. My team's not there. We're not hitting that this year. And I'm totally okay with that. And I was totally fine not earning level 3. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's totally good. Happy where I'm at. Super thankful for my business. I've built a business that I earn level 2 of an incentive without changing how I work year round. Like I just earn it. I don't have to try any harder than I already do because I always work like I'm in an incentive, right? But it's not enough to earn level 3. And this is something I've always wanted. There's something about this season, Kevin and I are hoping to buy a home. We're going to buy a home next summer. This is a big deal for both of us. We don't have any financial help from family. This is completely just us against the world, and it's totally going to happen. And it's something I've dreamed about for a long time. I'm feeling all the things. But yeah, so that's something that I'm like, we're going to do this. And Kevin's told me for a long time, we'll buy a house, we'll get married, whatever, but you need to slow down on traveling, which I don't love to do. If you guys don't know me well enough, I love to travel and I don't want to slow down at all. And Kevin made a comment during this incentive earning trip period. And he goes, yeah, well, you know, those trips aren't actually free. And it just kind of like hit me right in the heart. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, you know, like we still have to pay for my spot and all these other things. And if we're buying a house, like that trip's not actually free. And I don't know what it was, but it just like took the wind out of me, like completely just couldn't breathe. It really just really hit me hard. And I was like, wow, this sucks. I hate this feeling. But at the same time, I was like, there's no way I could earn level 3. There's just no possible way that I could sell that much, recruit that much. And that was my mindset. That's what I told Kevin. That's what I told everyone else. And I said, but you know what? I'm totally fine with it. I'm more than okay. I'm happy with level 2. We'll buy in, Kevin. It's no big deal, right? Well, I earned level 2. And like I said, about a week before that, I listened to this podcast, which you need to listen to. Otherwise, none of this will make as much sense as it does. And I listened to this podcast, What's Your Everest? And I hit level 2. And just so happened that like later that day, I was just kind of toying with the idea of, but what if I earned level 3? What if I did? So then I went over to my friend Susan, who I knew had sold 7,000 PRV in 3 days to earn her daughter's spot to Disney back in 2020, right? So I messaged her. I said, hey, so I don't know if I'm going for this or not, but do you have any like advice or trainings or anything about how you did that 7,000 in 3 days? She goes, oh yeah, of course, Vanessa. I have a video. Let me see if I can send it to you. And I said, okay, cool, thanks. She goes, just so you know, like I have this super imposter syndrome. I hope she doesn't yell at me for telling you guys this. She goes, I have a super imposter syndrome. So like, I don't really know that it's any good. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Listen to this video, all of these tips that she did. And I was like, oh my gosh, this girl has lit a fire under my ass. I'm already sweating, but I started sweating. I got emotional. I started crying. And I was like, listen, if she can sell 7,000 in 3 days, I can get from 25,000 points to 40,000 points in 50 plus days. Like there's definitely a way I can do this, right? But I didn't want to admit to it because I was afraid of failure, because we all are, right? Whether we admit to it or not, we're all afraid of failing. We're afraid of what someone might think of us. We're afraid of putting that goal out there. We're afraid of putting ourselves out there. We have these doubts. We have these limits. We have these fears, right? And here's the thing. I was like afraid to say like, I'm going for this, but like, I was kind of like flirting with the idea of it. So I messaged my best friend, Nicole, and I said, hey, Noli, so you're going for level 3, right? She's like, yeah, I am. I said, okay, cool. You have to listen to this, this training that my friend Susan did. You know, it was really cool. She sold 7,000 PRV in 3 days. And she goes, wait, are you working for level 3? I was like, no, definitely not. And then I asked, like, before she could even read it and respond, I was like, okay, maybe I am, but I don't know yet. And she lit a fire. She let into me. And of course I was insecure and I was scared. And it's something I've never sold this much PRV in this short of a time frame, you know, never come anywhere near earning level 3 of an incentive trip. But just 3 years ago, I wasn't anywhere near earning level 2. So she talks me into some sense and she goes, Vanessa, do you want mean Vanessa, or do you want tough love, Nicole, or do you want like soft lovey, Nicole? And I said, give me the tough love. Let me hear it. She goes, you have to do this. She goes, you constantly are talking to people, telling them they could do anything they set their mind to. You're always believing people. You're pushing them. You're helping them. You're guiding them. You do all these things. You set the example for everybody else. She goes, you have to do this. And you're going to do this. And you can do this. And you will do this, right? So I was talking to my friend Susan. I was like, hey, I got to tell the world about this video because it's so amazing, right? So I'll link that one here too, because I think it's really cool. Which she's ended up impacting like over 100 people that have seen this video already, which is amazing to me. So cool. But anyways, I just come back and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go for this. I have to sell $15,488 over the next 54 days to earn this incentive trip. And this is, a few days ago, mind you. And at first, before I even added up the number, before I looked at everything, I was like, there's no way I can do this. And, this is in the midst of talking to Nicole and everything else. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. I started crying. I just was so overwhelmed with emotions, crying that I was afraid I couldn't do it, crying because I was excited to go for something new, crying because I think I found my next Everest. And you know what? Here's the thing. Climbing Everest is no joke. That's why they say your next Everest in this podcast, because it's hard and it takes resilience and you can't give up and you just have to go for it, you know? So I start crying and these sad tears turn into happy tears because I'm so scared, but I'm so excited at the same time. And I figure out, okay, this is my Everest. This is what I'm going for. And I can do this. And I shared it with Kevin and he goes, you talked to Nicole. This sounds like you talked to Nicole. Bless that woman. Gosh, I love her so much. So yeah, that's what I did. And I said, okay, I'm going for this. And at first it was this rush of emotion, but I was afraid to tell anybody. You know, I was like, I don't know. And an old restaurant friend of mine called. He goes, hey, I saw you posted some boxes on Marketplace. Some of my real estate clients could really use those. Like, can I come pick those up? I was like, yeah, sure. We're chatting. He's like, oh, like what's new? And I said, well, I haven't really told anyone yet. And I don't know what possessed me to be like, hey, let me tell you about this stupid goal I have. It's crazy, stupid high, crazy, stupid sales. Like, I don't mean stupid isn't a bad thing. Just like stupid is like ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, I'm going for this top level of our incentive trip. And I've never done it before. And I have to almost double the sales that I've done over the last couple months. He's like, wait, are you serious? I was like, yeah, like I'm going for this. He's like, dude, that's super cool. You know what? I need to get a gift for my wife. Let me go ahead and get something scentsy for her. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. Like, we'll talk. So we get off the phone, he makes a purchase, nothing crazy. But after I had already told someone this goal, which is really important, after I had told Nick about my goal, I was like, oh, okay, now I have to go for this. Like I've already told someone. And if I've already told one person and I've told Kevin and I've told my best friend, I could tell everybody, right? So I go on Facebook, I make my little notebook, I get my marker and I make my numbers perfect and super cute. And I take this picture and I go live and I said, okay, this is the stupid goal I'm going after, right? And all these people, they're rooting for me. Vanessa, you got this. I believe in you. Awesome, for sure, whatever. We're supporting you. And I was feeling great, right? But I was also super overwhelmed in all the feelings. And then yesterday, I was just like, okay, cool. Like I got this. It's a really crazy day. I'm gonna do an open house. We're gonna have people over. And my open house didn't go how I wanted it to. I only had 2 people show up, which is okay. It happens. The fast, I've had a lot more people show up than that. And, I'm all of a sudden getting stuck in these feelings. And I want to share this super raw because this is what you guys are going to experience if you go through any sort of Everest yourself in business or in life. And I was like, I don't know that I can do this. I don't know. This is really hard. I've never done this before. I've never sold that much money in 1 month. I've never sold this much PRV in 1 month, let alone 2 months back to back. This is way out of my comfort zone, right? But then I get in these spurts. I'm like, no, I got this. It's okay. Setbacks happen. It's totally fine. We're going to keep going. You're loved. You're supported. You're strong. You can do anything. It's totally awesome. You got this, girl. And then today, I woke up this morning and I was like, all right, it's time for me to put my head down, put them blinders up because it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And it's time to get to work. My friend, I have an accountability group going with a few of my very close friends that are also working for level 3. And my one friend's like, okay, this is what I'm doing today to work towards this thing. What are you guys doing? I said, all right, I'm going to follow up with all my local all my local VIPs, tell them about my last order before the cutoff. I'm going to message all my, and I said this game plan. This is who I'm going to message. This is what I'm going to do. Someone else pops in. Hey, make sure you message all the people that pre-ordered castles. So I messaged up to the castles. I messaged 28 people that are local VIPs to tell them about our shipping cutoff, my last bulk order before then. I took a picture with my updated thing. So we got 52 days left. I have to sell $15,408, right? Take a picture, post it all over social media, post about it in my VIP group, ask people to share it. People are commenting, they're liking, they're following up. They're like, yeah, Vanessa, you got this. And, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go do a few deliveries. I'm going to go spread some Scentsy cheer. I made Scentsy shaped cookies last night for my open house, but not enough people came. So I'm going to put those in with those orders I'm dropping off. And cool, right? I'm driving around. I'm having a good day. And I'm just like, oh, I can't do this. I don't know what I was thinking. I get in these highs. I was talking to my sister on the phone. I get in these modes where I'm like, yeah, I could do anything. I can conquer the world. There's nothing getting in my way. And then there's other days where I'm like, what was I thinking? This is too hard. I can't do this. What if I fail? What if I don't hit that goal? And then I have to remind myself, stop, Vanessa, you're getting in your own head. You're getting in the way of your own success. And I tell myself the only limits are the limits that exist inside my head. And you know who's in control of this head right here? Ya girl, me. That is me. I got this. I set the limits. And I remind myself that there are no fucking limits, right? There's nothing there that can stop me. And I say, okay. I'm leaving my sister's house, hang out with her, have dinner. And I listen to this podcast again. I pull it up. And the first time I listened to it, I didn't know I was going for level 3. Now I know I'm going for level 3. I'm listening. And he's talking about the 10s. He's talking about the 1s. And he's talking about his journey across Antarctica, right? And the very first day he gets there, not even 30 minutes into getting off the plane, being dropped off, he's on his journey, right? He can't pull the sled. Listen, guys, you're going to listen to this. You're going to understand. But he can't pull his sled. He can't even pull his sled more than 10 feet. And he's supposed to go all the way across Antarctica. And he calls his wife and he goes, listen, I can't do this. This was impossible. This was a great name, whatever, right? And I'm like, wow, I relate to that. Like I told myself I was going to earn level 3. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell $15,000 plus in less than 2 months. Like I'm going to do this. And then as soon as I get started, I'm like, I can't do this. This is impossible. I've never done this. This is so hard. I can't, right? So I'm listening to this podcast. I go, wow, Colin, I relate to this so much. And he keeps going, and his wife tries to talk some sense into him. She's like, you can keep going. You can keep going. Just get to the first checkpoint. Get to that first checkpoint, set up camp, and reset. Okay. So I'm like, okay, that's what I need to do. So this is my next step is I'm going to sit here. I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths, try and get into some sort of meditation and just connect with myself and say, all right, I can do this. It's time to reset. And I don't want to ruin the podcast for you and all the surprises, but what he talks about next is all these different voices in his head. He learns how to shut them up eventually. And I don't want to ruin this podcast because you really need to listen to it. You need to. And then he's neck and neck with this other guy. It's this whole thing. And he tells himself, oh, I can only push for 10 hours. He tells his wife, I can only do 10 hours. And she goes, you don't have enough food to go 10 hours. You have to do 12. You have to. He's I can only do 10. I can only do 10. I can only do 10. That limiting belief. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I can only sell this much. I can only sell this much. I only have this many customers. I can only do this many parties. Nobody wants to book a party. I'm feeling all these things. I'm relating it to where I'm at on day 3 of my 54-day journey, right? So we're sitting there. I'm sitting in my car. I'm listening to this. And, he finds this other guy. He's doing this. You'll hear about it in the podcast, but he wants to push past this person. He's only gone 10 hours. That's his absolute max. Well, this guy's going for 11. He goes, well, if that guy's going for 11, I can go for 11. And he pushes for 11. And he goes, man, if I could do that extra hour to 11, I can go 1 more hour. We're going to do the biggest I've ever done. We're going to hit hour 12. He hits 12 hours of just straight pushing through, carrying this sled that's like 300 plus pounds, 12 hours straight, pulling the sled through the Antarctic, negative 40 degrees, right? Goes to bed that night. He's never done 12 because 10 was his limit, right? And he says, well, if I can do 12 hours one time, I can do it again tomorrow. So he did it for day 2 and the day 3 and day 4 and day 5 and day 6. And he kept going and he kept saying, okay, cool. If I could do 12 hours once, I could do it again. So that's where I'm at here is I'm going to get into this deep state. I'm going to talk to myself. We're going to get in this flow and we're going to say, it's okay. I've never done this before. And maybe that's what I think my limit is, but I'm going to push. And if I can do it one time, if I can get to 2,000 PRV a week or however much it needs to be, if I do it once, I can do it again. And I can do it again. And I can do it again because these limits don't exist. So day 1 of my little documentary talking about level 3, and I'll keep you guys updated. So got a bingo tonight. Just kind of keeping you updated on tasks that I'm doing, how I'm feeling. So stay tuned. Tell your friends, have them watch. I love I love sharing. I love just showing people that we're all human and no one's house is perfect all the time. And like I was telling my sister today, no, social media is all fake and no one shares the nasty side. My office is a mess and I'm feeling emotions that people don't talk about. So just come join me and have fun and listen and grow and just be a part of this. So if you're listening to this, cool, tell me about it, message me, encourage me. I love the encouragement. I really do. That's because I love people. But yeah, so that's here we are, day one of talking about this. I have, I think, 52 days to go until January 31st and $15,408 to go. We're going to see what happens. And thanks for being here, guys. Wish me luck.